This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, very good evening. Very good evening and good morning to one and all. Welcome to SAP UI5 online sessions. Today is the demo session. My name is Srinivas. I have overall 8 years of experience in the UI5 and FIORI application development, along with the HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, web application development. So here I will be looking at you a complete the course content details regards to what is SAP UI5 and what is a FIORI. So before getting into the course content part, so I would like to know the participants, the background details, so that according I can plan my content, how to deliver and how to proceed for the training programs. So may I know the participants unmute yourself and then share your background knowledge, what all you've been and what all knowledge you have, what all been expecting in this course content as such.
Hi, I'm Nilanjana. I have experience in ABAP,
Mm-hmm.
actually 14, 13 years of experience in ABAP. And
Oh,
I want,
great.
yeah. But yeah, I have little bit knowledge of Fiori and HTML, but
Mm-hmm.
I really want to learn it like an expert. So
Okay.
there's I don't have experience in JavaScript, but I can just understand a little bit of coding.
Okay, that's nice
And
then. Okay. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we are going to do some project in Fiori soon
Mm-hmm.
at work, and I'm trying to learn Fiori myself. But I feel if I get through the training, it will be easier for me to understand and clear my doubts.
Okay. Okay. Sure, definitely. Okay, let me start sharing my screen and the course content. So I see another participant also joined in the session. Thanks for sharing your information, Nilanjana. So is I'm pronouncing correctly?
Yeah,
Is
that's right.
Nilanjana right? Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
Nilanjana.
So Sangram, hello. I'm currently working as a web consultant. Okay, cool. So let me know once if you can start, once you can see my screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thanks for confirming. So at very beginning, we will start here SAP UI and Fury difference as per the course lesson 1. So many of participants, many of ABAPers, many of UI consultants, they know that what is exactly UI5 and what is a Fury, but more in a detailed. There's a huge difference between SAP UI and Fury as a technology stack, and is also as an architecture stack. Also, we have a huge difference in between SAP UI and Fury. So, as a part of introduction, I will be walk through what are the differences we have in SAP UI and Fury. What are different types of Fury features we have, Fury application types we have. What are Fury tools are being provided as software installation Fury. So all that introduction I will provide during in the lesson 1. During in the lesson 2, we will walk through about environment setup creation. So in order to create SAP UI5 applications, we have various environments are available, which are named Eclipse, SAP Web IDE, SAP Business Studio. So we will start configuring the each of tools to create UI5 applications in the lesson 2. Following in the lesson 3, we will talk about prerequisite skill set. So for every language, we need to have some of prerequisite knowledge similar to that. Even getting into UI5, the prerequisite skill set here is you need to have a very basic knowledge regards to HTML5 and then cascading style sheet. Why do you need to have a HTML knowledge is all the together SAP UI5 is completely conceived from HTML5. So what are features we have in HTML5? All the features are incorporated in the SAP UI5. In general, how this HTML5 application development is complex, that it is how it is simplified in SAP UI5. We will start to compare. So in order to compare, we need to have a very basic knowledge about HTML5 that will be covered in the prerequisite skill set. Followed by we need to understand about cascading style sheets. The cascading style sheets which we use for beautifying the all the web pages. We have a this cascading style sheet. Why do you need to have a knowledge in the SAP UiFi application development regards to cascading style sheet is SAP here offered many themes like SAP Blue Crystal, SAP Belize, SAP Fury 3, SAP Gold Reflection. Like many themes are offering with different color codes, with different paddings, with different margins, with different responsive behavior. So all the together, if you want to customize at certain level for the UI elements, you need to incorporate certain cascading style sheet code. Along with that, if you want to build on your own according to company branding, company themes, company colors, company logos, if you want to use, you need to create a theme designer. In order to create a theme designer, again, you need to have a very basic knowledge about cascading style sheet. So with respect to that, I'm covering this cascading style sheet knowledge also in this course content. Followed by, we will walk through about JavaScript. Complete SAP UI5 application development follows MVC architecture, which describes model view controller. So during in the model view controller part completely built in SAP UI5 using the JavaScript. So we need to have a knowledge on JavaScript because JavaScript through only we will handle dynamic user interface creation as well as model initializations as well as instantiating your client side validations. Everything will be taken care of the JavaScript. So the JavaScript knowledge we need to have during in the UiFi application development. That knowledge again I'm covering as a prerequisite skill set. Followed by we have a one of the JavaScript framework with a name called jQuery, which describes write less, do more. The tagline of jQuery is you need to use jQuery offered various of methods in order to iterating the your JSON array, in order to to finding the JSON array inside any element, or to search or to filter. We have various of simplified methods are available in jQuery. So in order to use this jQuery framework, we need to understand what are the syntactical way to use and what the callback methods. All that knowledge will be given in the jQuery. And extensively we use Ajax in order to fetch your SAP's offered data services or non-SAP offered data services to consume in your UiFi application. We use Ajax completely. So this Ajax in general, how we handle when it comes to non-SAP RESTful services to handle or SOAP services to handle, or even if it is auditor services, what kind of Ajax we use, we will walk through during in the lesson 3. Followed by, once if you have a prerequisite knowledge, we will start to understand about creating different types of models in the UI5 and different types of way of creations of the views and instantiating the models, and then placing the controller at the right place, handling your dynamic user interpretation, or even client side validations. All that we will learn in the lesson 4. Where lesson 5, we need to understand about UI5 architecture. The moment when I say UI5 architecture, which includes your SAP web dispatcher and SAP gateway and SAP your S4HANA system, or your ECC with your having a basic database mapped. So all that we need to have a knowledge how your actual UiFi application by loading into your browser or in your FIORI client. So what are stages it will go, what is the layers are being comes in that all knowledge we learn during on the lesson 5. Where lesson 6 is about data bindings. During in the UiFi application development, we extensively use data to be flown in your application. So this data to flow, we have a different types of data bindings are offered. There's a one-time binding, there's a one-way binding, there's a two-way binding. All the data binding techniques we will learn during on the lesson 6. Along with that, there are multiple data models are offered in the UI5, which are named as JSON OData model, JSON model, OData model, and resource model. All that models to how to consume the data, how to operate the data, that we will learn during on the lesson 6. Well, lesson 7 about CRUD operations. Every business it expects to have one at least create operation or update operation or delete operation or reading a table data or reading a single entry data. All that operations will perform during on the lesson 7. Well, lesson 8, in general in order to handle these CRUD operations, we need to do creating of OData in your SAP system. How to create this SAP OData service. Already if ABAP are having a knowledge on this OData, I can skip this part. So some of tracing activities I will walk through during on the lesson 8. Along with the OData creation, there are certain things we need to understand on the part of traces the data. So how this data to be traced, that we will learn on the lesson 8. If participants having lacking on the knowledge on OData, that part also of knowledge will be covered in this lesson 8 with a very basic creation of your SCGW OData project. Followed by in lesson 9 I will talk about controls. There are a huge number of controls are offered in SAP UI5 library, which comes from SAP M namespace, SAP UI namespace, SAP core namespace, SAP.SUI suite namespace. With the different namespaces, different kind of UI controls are offered. How to use these UI controls? How to place each UI control inside each different behavior? What are things we need to understand? That all knowledge will be given during on the lesson 9. Well, lesson 10 about deployment. Once if your application is created, either in your SAP Web IDE or your Eclipse or your Business Studio, or even on your local Web IDE. So if you want to created Uifi application to deploy to your SAP server, what are steps we follow when it comes to a landscape, what all activities, manual activities we have to cover, that all knowledge will be given during on the lesson 10. With lesson 11, once application is available in your SAP server, in order to access to the user, what all configuration activities we have to perform. In order to access this UEFI application into FIORI Launchpad, so there is a launching page for all the UEFI applications, FIORI applications to load. Today we have one single entry point is called FIORI Launchpad. So this FIORI Launchpad to how to load your UEFI applications, whatever the application we created and we deployed to configure into the FIORI Launchpad, what all steps we have to learn, that knowledge will be given during on the lesson 11. Where lesson 12 about the guidelines, best practices. What are best practices we have? All the best practices will be provided during on the lesson 12. Where lesson 13 to 19, certain core topics of UI5. So there is the importance of the component.js. So what is exactly component.js job, and how this component.js integrates the manifest.json? What are manifest.json? Inside we have a segments like SAP app, SAP UI5, SAP app. All that information will be given during on the lesson 13. Where lesson 14 about navigations. I want to navigate from the one single UEFI application to another UEFI application, or within the UEFI application, if I want to navigate from one view to another view, how this all will handle, how this routing will be comes into a picture, how this hash mapping will be performed. All that knowledge will be given during on the lesson 14 and 15. Where lesson 16 about formatters. So all the way, whatever the technical data we will fetch from SAP tables or from your BAPIs or from your BADIS, whatever the data it is being loaded into your OData through your UEFI application. So that data directly we cannot give it to a user. Sometimes we need to little to format. Sometimes you need to leading zeros you need to remove. Sometimes you need to apply the currency format. Sometimes you need to apply the date formats. So all such things to handle, we have a concept of the formatter. How to use this formatter concept we will walk through during on the lesson 16. Where lesson 17 is about fragments. So all the together UI5 view will have a multiple user elements. All the together in one single view through we cannot readable. So in order to make it more the large system into small pieces, how generally we apply modularity. Similar way we can apply the same modularity concept in our UI5 application by referring into a fragments. Fragments are a complete alias to your presentation logic. So this will have a different fragments and you can integrate to your inside of the view. So what is this fragments, how to use these fragments, that all knowledge will be gained during on the lesson 17. But lesson 18 we will talk about responsive controls. So all the UI5 applications all are responsive, but still there's certain on top of responsive we need to place. For an example, if you created an application having with a table control, in the desktop I want to display 6 columns. When it comes to tablet I want to display 4 columns. When it comes to mobile phone I want to display only 2 to 3 columns. How to this responsive nature we need to provide. So there is a concept of device model. How to use this device model we'll walk through during on the lesson 18. Where lesson 19 is about file uploading and download. Single file, how to upload, how to download, multiple files if you want to upload, how to download. That knowledge will gain during on the lesson 19. Well, lesson 20 is about standard applications configuration. I want to to configure standard apps. There are multiple standard applications are offered. So what are standard applications? So how to use those standard applications, that knowledge we will gain during on the lesson 20. As well as enhancement, if you want to place how this enhancement will be part of your standard application, that also will gain the knowledge in the lesson 21. And lesson 22 is about the components. There are multiple components are recently introduced in SAP UI5 area. How to use these components also will gain during on the lesson 22. And lesson 23 is about the FIORI certification guidelines, and some part of resume preparation will be provided in this training program. So that's all about the course content we will deliver. So if you have any questions, you can raise your questions. Along with that, these all lessons to complete, we need complete 30 to 35 hours of time. So every day we will have one hour to 45 minutes to 1 hour session. Sometimes we go beyond of 1 hour also. And all the training program will be on the weekdays. So Monday to Friday we'll have a session, and in order to complete this complete course will take 1.5 months. So along with that, we will offer you remote desktop system. So all the sessions will be practical oriented. In the remote desktop system, we have a different SAP servers are available and different environments through creating UIF application. The channels are available. All the together, the remote desktop will give you complete practical experience. And every sessions will be recorded. All the recording sessions will be shared on the Google Drive link through. All the recording sessions you can get collected from the techie through. Okay, so any other questions?
Srinivas, do you provide any support after the training? Like if we are working on something and we get stuck
Yes,
somewhere, so do you
definitely.
provide suggestions? Okay.
Yes, yeah. So sometimes if you're facing any development times challenges, you can reach out to me. I can give you the directly the required piece of code, or else I can directly connect with you. I can give you the of a few hours support. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah. Any other questions? No questions. Okay. From one participant, no questions. So Nilanjana, you have any questions?
I have one
All
more
right.
question.
Mhm.
The timing, is it flexible or it will be at 4 o'clock every day?
Uh, Actually, we
For
were on
sorry,
time.
8:30 India time.
No. So these timings we can discuss based upon the participants volume, and
Uh-huh.
based upon you all our availability, and we can discuss, and we can make a time plan. Okay. So
Okay.
Nilanjana, at what time you are expecting these sessions to be taken? So will you be
Um,
available on the morning hours? Where are you located right now? What is the time zone you're
I'm
located?
in UK.
Okay.
I'm in UK, and earlier I was free at this time, but now I have scheduled something else at
Mhm,
8:30 India time for me.
mhm,
So I
mhm.
was just thinking if we can prepone the training session a little bit early.
Okay.
What time are you free usually?
Uh, uh, you want to like prepone or you want to postpone?
Postpone, how can like how late you can do?
10:30 of my time I can make myself free. So 10:30 to
10:30.
11:30. Yep.
Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, that will be after office for me. That will be great if you can.
Even I'm working for UK customer, so by this time I may have a certain calls. So then I cannot to
Um,
handle it. So all the together 10:30 I will finish my office hours so that I can connect you on 10:30 and I can continue the sessions. Okay.
yeah, that should be fine for me then.
Okay. Cool. So fine then. So we'll catch up on in the next session. How about Sangram? Do you have any timeline issues, or you want to proceed or no? Okay. Anyhow, you guys update to Rajendra. So Rajendra will be give the information. So according we can plan it. Okay. So fine. We'll catch up tomorrow and we'll continue our session. Okay.
Sure.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.